Hello and welcome to the TRBusiness YouTube channel. I'm delighted to be joined in this special video interview by Jan-Henrik Andersson. Jan-Henrik Andersson is the Chief Commercial Officer at Munich Airport, a position he took up relatively recently, and we're keen to meet Jan-Henrik, introduce him to all of you and speak a little bit about Munich Airport's commercial strategy as we anticipate the recovery in international traffic volumes. There's a lot of activity going on at Munich Airport at the moment, so let's get right into it. Jan-Henrik, a pleasure to speak to you.
Hey Luke, pleasure and privilege on my side. Thanks for spending time with me, and delighted to show up in travel retail business. You mentioned I'm relatively new, not a new kid on the block, but 6 months into the job, exactly 157 days. Not that I'm counting, but I'm enjoying and embracing every day here at fantastic Munich Premium Innovation Hub. And I'm dealing, just to give also the audience a little quick snap, not only commercial, but I do care about, and I'm a person in charge of security, IT, and digital. And it's a nice blend, in fact. And we have some specifics here. We run 4 product lines in the commercial arena. First of all, retail, including duty free, with our own operations, but also third party, F&B, the whole parking and e-mobility and advertising. So that's the blend. I'm dealing with a fantastic, strong team that came through the crisis that all of us influenced, I think, the last 2.5 years or so.
Interesting, Jan-Henrik. We'll get on to some of those elements shortly. And it's coming up to 2 years now of airports living with the uncertainty of COVID and the various variants and the restrictions that entails. What have you and your commercial tenants, particularly the retailers and duty-free partners you work with, learned fundamentally since the shops reopened, beginning around mid-2020 for many airports? And how are these learnings helping MUC in this next phase of recovery?
Right, Luke. I think that's something that burns on all or under all of our nails. I think we have seen the biggest crisis ever. And from a relatively risk-free environment, especially behind the security, with a closed market and almost no price elasticity, we have come to a conclusion that the pyramid has turned upside down. So everything was mixed, was blurred. But I think we have been showing strong signals, especially to our tenants, including to duty-free operations, to show a partnership approach, to really pay a lot of attention to supporting elements. We had redemption, we had suspension of rental payments. We had to do because I think everyone was slammed. And we put a lot of flexibility, and I think this is the thing that will last into the business model. I think the old schemes of MAG and just revenue proportions are rather end to life. They may stay and return at a later, but I think what's now really demanded from all sides is more flexibility, more cooperation, new business forms in terms of departing packs, in terms of revenue and profit share. And I think we have shown, and we have got the signal also from our third party brands and operators here, that we managed somewhat okay-ish through the crisis. And the paradigm shift of the value of the space, which have been the predominant factor, has somewhat leached into the value of the audience, the value of the customer. And you need different business vehicles to demonstrate this and to put this into a commercial form. And I think that's the one component, if there's stability, that will help us to go off the crisis and in a very fruitful cooperation in the future.
You mentioned flexibility there, Jan-Henrik, and obviously extracting commercial value, the greatest commercial value from every square meter, of making that space work. How would you describe in the first quarter, we remain in the first quarter, coming into the second quarter, but of course your results aren't out yet, I'm sure. How would you position the commercial business in the first quarter of this year?
We have seen some uplift at the last quarter of 21. I think no one of us expected Omicron. Then unfortunately the heavy impact, even though low number of customers, but tragic moments from the Ukraine and Russia. So we have been still seeing slamming numbers in terms of packs. The booking rates are going up. Everyone is eager to explore the world again. So I think we are right at the end of the first quarter to the rather end of the tunnel and see more light. That's reflected also in terms of retail going up. We have been increasing revenue per packs, besides the fact we are missing valuable customer components from China, from Russia. Yeah, we count very much on the tourism from Arabic countries. So I think we have been concentrating on a few commercial rigors, quote unquote, that have been left because sheer number of customers are down, frequency is down. So what you can actually do is you can increase share of wallet and work hard on cross and upsell and really providing means being relevant, being locally relevant for your remaining customer base. And we have been seeing some quite good uplift there by adding new brands which customers don't buy, but brands which customers are joining. So it's the why behind, and I think that's a paradigm shift that will also hold. And putting new commercial models in place, we have been seeing uplift, especially from our hybrid formats, having a higher share of online business, having a higher share of mobile, technical, easy, contactless payments. So I think we are working hard on this, and one of the biggest things I'm personally very eager is to reshape the duty-free setup in our beautiful Terminal 2, which is unfortunately still a walk-by concept, and you know better than me that this isn't paying well into penetration and capture rate. But we have been addressing this and working hard.
Let's speak a bit about the plans at the airport. Obviously, prior to the pandemic, there was this big vision. There remains this big vision for Munich to lift the commercial space at Terminal 1 to around 5,000 square meters, up from around 1,000 square meters, to create this single non-Schengen departure zone with a duty-free walk-through unit and a number of other units to accompany those developments. Just bring us up to date, Jan-Henrik, on the plans here, the vision here, and how you intend to progress that in the coming months and year.
Yeah, you mentioned with your question, we have been adjusting the pace. Yeah, we have been slamming down from almost 50 million customers to 12.5 last year, and definitely this has an impact, especially on new building, bringing new infrastructure. We are still holding our vision. I'm amazed. It's a construction site that is getting more to maturity, more readiness. Yeah, but the whole interior setting isn't finished yet. So we hold to our vision to really open a new smashing area of not only 5,000 square meters, but with the depth and width and a marketplace, including a walkthrough concept going live by 2025, end of year, maybe due to shortage of material and availability of labor, we may slip into 26. But that is still up. That is still set as not only a vision, but this will become true, with a lot of opportunities for tenants, third-party business, but also our own operations coming up. And we tend to go into negotiation roughly 3 years before. So it's a good time. Yeah, it won't happen in the next 2 weeks, but definitely during that year that we will go and reach out and advertise and promote that fantastic place. And it's beautiful. I don't know if you have seen the building, but it's a 400 square meter, convert that into square foot, light ceiling. Yeah, it's really magic. You can already see and imagine the passenger flow very easily through a very, very smashing offer of retail and F&B outlets.
And I want to talk to you a little bit about the mechanics of that reconfigured passenger flow, Jan-Henrik. Previously, we know that the T1 commercial reconfiguration would center potentially around the marketplace concept that T2 assumed. Is that still the plan? And if so, can you shed a bit more light whether or not that may have been tweaked, and where you're drawing inspiration from at a brand level, but a retailer level as well?
Right. I mean, even though we had some travel restrictions, I've been traveling or I've been reaching out to experts that have been seeing up latest fashion, quote unquote, in Istanbul or Dubai or other GCC states, especially also from Asia. So we have really a magnificent concept, a true marketplace. And I think the disadvantage of the as is status in T1 is that you have four independent segments. You don't have the depths of really providing an appealing and inviting atmosphere. And that marketplace is really something that you can see from top. You have the escalators going down. Yes, there's some traveling up and down, but I think there's enough reason, there's enough means to enjoy this as well. So it will be a central point where you have the security zone, and then every passenger is traveling through that marketplace, which is, I think, in terms of footfall, in terms of capture rate, in terms of impulse buying. But don't forget the component of really plan buying as well, that we are appealing to by customer insights and reach towards landside or even downtown city zones that will really make that a very busy place.
It remains early days, but in terms of the anticipated mix, I know that Munich we're looking at enhancing that luxury fashion component at the non-Schengen area of Terminal 2 and indeed at the satellite terminal. Can you explain what's going on that side?
Right. I mean, you mentioned high-end or luxury. That is, besides all the crisis, those are the strong and really faithful delivering components. Yeah, our Rolex shop, our other high-end fashion brands, they deliver by square meter, even by sales per person, and spendings by packs. Besides the crisis, so definitely this is something that we will build into the shop mix, into the brand proposition. Referring to the satellite, I've briefly given outline on we want to return to as soon as possible to the 50 million passengers, but we plan 30 million, a little bit plus this year. So as of now, there isn't really the commercial means, and we share a common responsibility, not only from the offer, but also provide means to the operators as well. So as of now, we don't see in the satellite additional capacity coming up. We still have to fight, I'm honest, we still have to fight with some closed shops, and we want to reactivate those first by adding new one. But it will come, yeah? It will come definitely as soon as we see the demand side going up again.
And just shifting back to something earlier you mentioned regarding the validity of the current commercial model or lack thereof, there's obviously been a lot of debate, continues to be a lot of debate through the pandemic on the plausibility of these models. You spoke about flexibility there. And obviously MUC has had to be in a position where it's offering concession reductions or deferrals as other airports. As we move through the pandemic, there is obviously an expectation on the retailer side that airports will continue to commit, if they're not already doing so, to some variable rent component, more flexible mags, and obviously in some cases getting rid of mag altogether. So what is your take in terms of, in the long run, looking to the restoration of traffic in around 23, 24, as we're hearing from the air transport associations? What is key to getting the balance right?
Right.
Commercially.
And I think you already used in your phrase two components that from a value position and my strong conviction of striving for win-win situations. We have to have more flexibility. We have to have definitely a long-term view. I think we have been gaining good experience on both ends with sliding scales that allow really to inhale and buckle up to tight. So departing tax-based business models, I think, is something that we are seeing more and more. But I want to send the signal. Flexibility means to go new paths, to go new routes, and our commitment to support, especially at the beginning of a 3, 5, 7 years contract, whatever, to help with subsidies, to be more generous and to pay jointly into an experience. What we expect partners, brands to really commit to is a whole proposition, because I mean it's the brand, it's the product, it's the offer, it's the experience. So it's minimum 4 dimensions, and what we are committing to is to have those right in terms of generating a sweet spot that stays. Now, I've seen some brands really doing nicely in that. Maybe we can come to this as well. So we want to have brands, we want to have products that help and are set up to quickly adapt and really shape jointly the next normal, because consumer behavior has changed. So all of us have to show that flexibility that I mentioned. And last point to Mag, yes, I think that's rather as that end of life. I think that's a burden, that's a stick. And we have new means of business model, including lead generation, yeah, which is one of my favorite. So indirect payment, which I do see being more relevant and more reflecting the VUCA world we live in today.
And you mentioned brands there, Jan-Henrik, and forging more direct relationships is my question. Is there an argument for Munich Airport to be doing that? Should other airports be doing that in Europe? Obviously, we have a retail concession model, but things need to change. Consumers' expectations are changing. How do we square those two challenges?
Right, and I think there's always the golden middle, or like you said, the balance, the healthy mix of third party and own operations. I think the beauty and the beast, basically, of owning end-to-end business, yeah, was a heavy hit in terms of owning and suffering the whole P&L, including operation, which was loss-making, to be straight, yeah, the last 2 years, but especially with regards to matching expectation, gaining customer insights, having access directly to POS systems, yeah, knowing customer experience, knowing that's an advantage. So I want to send the signal, we will keep both in retail and F&B, we will keep that model, but we will bring in new expertise with brands, yeah, that customers are joining, that provide the right quality, the experience, the offer, the comfort I mentioned. Personally, without being biased on that, but I like what Nike, Ben Jerry's, Lush is doing, because those guys are really so quick in finding that right sweet spot of the 4 elements and bring that together and pay into the expectation of, I want to be surprised. I want to have more event-based. It's less product related, yeah. It's image related, and I think that is a trend that we are committed to with our own operation, but we'd like to have strong partners in this as well. So please understand that as an invite and as more opening into, yeah, increasing the share of third party.
And just to develop that a bit further in terms of consumer expectations, we're seeing a lot more demand and appetite for sustainable brands that have a corporate an ethical responsibility, not in terms of the products, but the environment and the lifestyle that allay with that of the consumer. That's important. That's what consumers are buying into. When it comes to the B2B conversations and the commercial models, the bidding processes, is it an expectation that you will consider baking in some element of sustainable practice within bid criteria when you issue RFPs?
Definitely. I mean, I think we are a company, we started 2009 with bringing the purpose proposition towards our equation. So have the right balance between profit and purpose. Yeah, we were one of the few, but definitely also eyed on as airline or polluting industries to shape our image better. Yeah, and definitely, I think the commercial equation is, if there's willingness to pay for and the cost to serve are reasonable, yeah, I think there is a heavy commitment to a long-term sustainable approach. We work with sustainable packaging material. Yeah, we're trying to think about models to reduce the carbon footprint by asking, hey, are you willing to shrink your portion? Yeah, because if the ingredients are shrink, then the whole impact for the environment is lower. So I think the demographic change, the change of passenger mix, not only nationality but gender mix. You have that generation X and Y, yeah, that have total different expectation. I think the question is, how strong is their commitment to actually pay for this? Yeah. And I think we are probing on that. Definitely there is a commitment. I would say that we appreciate brands, we appreciate formats that bring that sustainability aspect. To be straight, is there a lasting component that allow all of us to really have that good balance between profit and purpose? We will see. We will need to experiment. Yeah. And we are, in terms of used materials, in terms of setup, in terms of the whole philosophy from farm to fork, we are probing on that. And depending on if that will be expected, and especially also if we can generate a commercial return, partially, or at least cover costs, that would be the minimum expectation. Definitely commitment, yes.
Okay. And just a final question then,
right.
Jan-Henrik, what can we expect from Munich Airport in the coming months, be it new partnerships, potential tenders? I know we've touched on obviously the Terminal 1 developments, but elsewhere within the terminal setup, what can customers and returning travellers really expect?
Right. I mean, there's a bunch of flowers, and I don't want to do too much advertising or marketing here, but one of our big thrusts that we are following is to think in terms of ecosystems. Yeah. So far, there was a strategy to put everything in isolation, coming up with our own loyalty scheme, whatever. I think no one of us has the breadth and the financial power to do so, because we were hammered by the last 2 years. So thinking in terms of smart partnerships, thinking in terms of ecosystems, in terms of shared customer insights and data points that will allow us to analyze and put commercial rigors to jointly use this, is one of the enabling component. Yeah. So appealing to customer insights, because the impulse will stay, but the big uplift I see is, as mentioned, predictive analytics. Get into planned behavior and try to move transactions to on-site, or refer to business model that allows you to profit and benefit from leads. What you need for is brands, is concept that are innovative, that are really distinct and unique. So we want to surprise, we want to enlighten customers. And with regards to technology, cashless payment, unmanned stores you see at other airports, we will bring soon here again, simply to test and to probe. If they hold, we will see. Yeah. We play strong, and that's the benefit of having these own operations, in terms of getting the customer experience alongside the entire journey up by exciting customers with nice bundle offers, price discounts, because that's the benefit that, in terms of product management and product marketing, we want to really push. Yeah. And if you put this into the light of ecosystems, not only here at the campus, but as soon as someone takes the taxi or any public transport here, or flies from another airport, we will know and hopefully read the mind of customers to be relevant and to catch them in a spending mode.
Certainly a lot of creativity and tools at your disposal there.
Right.
Yeah, Henrik, and we really appreciate you sharing some of those plans with us, and we'll keep a keen eye obviously on developments at the terminal, or the construction, and obviously in the coming year, looking forward to the returning passenger traffic volumes and how that's going to shape Munich Airport's future visions. So thank you very much for speaking to TRBusiness today.
Luke, thank you very much from my side, and I have to admit it's a pleasure and privilege that I said at the beginning, but I know of your tremendous expertise, and I feel in good hands, and Munich Airport will always turn to you first to get some heads up and keep in contact to let you know first in the market.
Really appreciate that, Jan-Henrik. Really appreciate it, and hopefully I can come to Munich very soon and pay you a visit, and the team, and continue this fruitful relationship, and working with Karina for a number of years. So always very, very, very pleasurable. Okay, thank you very much, Jan-Henrik.
Thank you.